and thanks, Jason, and welcome everyone. Again, my name's Jeff with NRCS here, and I'll be joined today with my colleague Thomas Burke, a forester here at NRCS, and we'll be just kind of going over kind of a high cut of NRCS offerings and how we can help private landowners implement prescribed burns and just go through that. So get over here to this screen. There may be several of you that don't know who we are, so I figured I'd just throw this up there just in case some landowners out there, or even with other agencies. But we're a federal agency that provides technical and financial assistance to private landowners to voluntarily put what we call conservation practices on the ground that provides multiple benefits. And we are with USDA. So your steps to I guess kind of joining us and getting in contact. This is would be the first step, is trying to find and locate your local office in the county, or that office that covers the county where the land is actually at, because we have a lot of absentee landowners that may live in Fairfax and have land in, like, Highland or Bath County or something. So they would want to be contacting, or if that was your situation, you'd want to be contacting that service center that covers those counties where your land is at. And so here's a link to in Virginia where you'd go. You can also open up a browser and just kind of search for Virginia NRCS, and it'll come right up. And but you would first meet with the DC there. And we also have also mentioned we have 6 private lands biologists across the state. You can also contact them. They're on that same link on our splash page under Contact Us. So either one, but the DCs usually run the majority of the meetings in the beginning, especially with eligibility issues and going through and discussing what it is to get on board with us and get your land in the system and that kind of thing. And so you want to sit down and meet with either a DC or one of our private lands biologists and kind of discuss your overall objectives and goals. What do you want to do? And we'll take it from there. And we offer kind of 2 types of assistance, and they don't always go hand in hand. If you do get financial assistance, or if that's what you're looking for, you'll definitely get the technical assistance. But we often have landowners that don't want to get involved with the government and sign papers and this and that. So we do have free technical assistance. It's called CTA, Conservation Technical Assistance. And we'll come out and provide free technical assistance. No doubt about it. So it's one of the things we've been doing for years. But a lot of people want some financial assistance to assist meeting their goals and objectives and what they want to do. So 2 of our big programs are EQIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program, and the Conservation Stewardship Program, CSP. This one, Conservation Stewardship Program, is now the biggest one we have in terms of dollars. Back in the 2018 Farm Bill, this one, more funding was provided for this program than the EQIP, this was always the big one in the House. But so don't forget about CSP. And again, work with your local DC or your private lands biologist to determine which program might be best suited for your land or your goals and objectives. Here's just a high cut of EQIP. You don't have to read all that. But here are 2 practices that will help assist with prescribed burns. The first is CPS, or Conservation Practice Standard 338, prescribed burning, and the second is 394 fire break. We often refer to these as practices, but they're kind of the standard is kind of the overarching document that kind of you have to kind of go by to implement for implementation. And these contracts can, under EQIP, can go 1 to 10 years. We try not to drag them out 10 years, but sometimes we have to, especially in the wildlife fund pool, because it's not just putting in a fence or something, and you're establishing some kind of cover habitat, and it takes time. And this is yeah, I don't expect you to read this, but this is just a shot of the standard itself, the practice of prescribed burning. This gives you definition purposes, and some things like that. But it's the overarching thing that kind of says the do's and don'ts, who went and why, and all that. And just for instance, here, one of the things we do require in Virginia is that all prescribed burn plans and applications shall be written by a Virginia certified prescribed burn manager. And they can, all this information has to be in the plan. You can also use, and I think I got my memory right, the Virginia DOF form 4.9. That's right. If I have it wrong, somebody let me know. As a template too. And so just want to bring that up. And here are some of the offerings we offer. Basically 3 big different offerings: understory burns, a site prep burns, and like a native grassland burn. And just so everybody knows what this HU is historically underserved. That can be from economically, it can be a minority, it can be veterans, or you're brand new, you're just new into farming, or new into this, and that you'd fall into one of those categories. And again, that goes back to when you're sitting down with your DC and going through eligibility and the applications and stuff like that. You kind of discuss that, and you might fit in one of those categories and it's actually a higher payment, you'll notice. So I just want to point that out. And again, fire break, the same thing. Here's the standard. It's the practice and what it is, the definition and the purposes. 2 purposes: one, definitely to contain prescribed burn, and the other is to reduce the spread of wildfire. So it can be used in either instance, whatever the objectives and goals of the landowner are. Here's the different payments or financial assistance. DIST, medium equipment, starts talking about slopes. This is more like the dozers. We also have to vegetated fire break and a big fire break, like kind DOF carries around on their trucks. And back to like this, and I'll just say vegetated just because sometimes this comes up. Again, the standard will call out certain things like how big the fire break has to be. And in this instance, especially for vegetated fire breaks, sometimes it comes as a surprise, but in forest land, it's got to be 50 feet wide. If it's in a forest, it's got to be 50 feet wide. If adjacent to, I think it's 20 feet, maybe 30, probably 20. Other than that, it's usually 8 to 10 if it's just disc. So I just want to point that things out. And the other big program is our conservation stewardship program. And they're based off of our practices, but they're referred to as enhancements or activities, and they're 5-year contracts. They're mainly used for, you've already came to us and EQIP, and you've already kind of done a lot of things, and we've brought your land up to a certain level of goodness. Things are going well. You've got your systems in. You've got, let's just say some native grassland in, and we went through a contract or 2 with you, and now it's time for you to kind of move on to, that's what the CSP program is for, to help you maintain or improve your existing conservation systems on your land. And for here, relating to prescribed burn, we have 2, and again, you'll see that E for enhancement, 338B, short interval burns, and sequential patch burns. The short interval burns, lifespan is 1 year, just like the regular prescribed burn under EQIP's 1 year lifespan. And but you'll notice here it's only available on forest land. And here's the description here. And this is sequential patch burning. Again, this is just kind of an understory burn to create that mosaic effect around the forest and within the forest. And again, it's a 1 year lifespan. So you could do it up to probably 3-4 times if you had to in that 5-year contract. The payments, I don't have the payment list up here. It's a little bit more complicated, and definitely be sitting down with your DC to go over how that works. When you enroll a certain amount of land, it has to do with the amount of land you enroll in the whole program, and your payment can vary depending on that. And at this point, I'll hand it over to Thomas.
Good morning, everybody. What Jeff has up now is what a lot of people are familiar with, is just the CAP 106 plans. Recently, as of this fiscal year, we've switched to CPA 106. But what these are forest management plans. Stewardship plans are similar, that come from DOF, but this is the federal program for these plans. These are written by technical service providers, or TSPs, you may have heard. And they cover everything from planning and implementation, and you know, what practices fit for your property. What happened here with the CAP 106 to the CPA 106 changes, they split up this plan into 2 parts: a broad strokes view of your property, and then the DIA, which gets more into the actual treatments. So you'd have something that just looks at the property as a whole and what it contains and different components, and then the DIA will go through each part of that property on which practices work best for it. I bring this up for this presentation because these DIAs are for forest management in general, and there's also a prescribed burn DIA, which is this 160. And this is something you can work with one of these technical service providers on to create a burn plan for your property. And there is payments associated with this for you, and to reimburse you for this TSP time on your property. There's a list of TSPs available that work in Virginia on our website. Jeff, could you give me the next one? Now, this is a really broad strokes example of something you could do on your property that involves NRCS and some of the cost share programs, the payment incentives that we have. But the first step, as Jeff said, is to reach out to your local district conservationist, that DC there, and get started on a plan. After that, you may get a hold of one of these TSPs and have them create a CPA 106 and the DIA 160 for prescribed burn plan. From there, you may look at a thinning if you're going for this pine savanna look. And we ask that you get a hold of a forester, whether it's a consultant or somebody with DOF to help you through that process. And while it's not included here, NRCS has practices that offer payments for these kind of things as well. We have 666 is one of the practices that covers timber stand improvement, as well as 647, which creates early habitat if you're doing a little larger scale clearance. From there, you're probably going to need to install some fire breaks, and that's 349 or 394, excuse me, as Jeff said. And then we take it back to DOF or any other prescribed burn manager that has the certification from the state to write the plan for your property. After that, the practice 338 to conduct the burn itself and all the associated follow-up. And then, you know, as necessary, repeat these burns to meet the wildlife goals or whatever other objective you may have for the property. And this is a good opportunity to reach out to one of these biologists or somebody with DOF that knows your property and how often you'll be able to burn it. But there's a lot of opportunities to interact with NRCS as well as your other natural resource professionals in meeting objectives for your property. That's all I got.
I think that's about it. So I didn't think we take a whole lot of time unless there's a lot of questions. Yield that time certainly back to some of the others or the panel later on.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it. We got plenty of time for questions. So use the chat, and I think Lindsay, we've got a raised hand.
All right, Shep, you should be able to unmute. Oh, okay. You should be good.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out if similar programs are available through NRCS for governmental agencies like counties. They produce a lot of wildlife and a lot of benefits conservation wise. So I wonder if those are only available, those programs, to private landowners, or if counties can apply.
Private landowners. We used to, under the old WIP program, we were able to work with state, local, and other agencies around the state. But when they disbanded the WIP program, it's pretty much just all private landowners or sometimes nonprofits work with us. But yeah, mostly private landowners. Unfortunately, we've been talking about that for years now since the WIP went away, because we did a lot of good things with other agencies in the past.
Yeah, we have 50,000 acres of county-owned land where I live, and we need help.
I wish we could do something.
Hey Jeff, I got a question for you. If with these with EQIP and CSP, are there funds available in the CSP to continue to maintain a habitat that you've created with EQIP funds? Is that what I'm understanding correctly? Yes, correct. Yep. It kind of just, once the EQIP brings you up to the standard, that's what CSP, it's an incentive to keep the landowner involved and to help provide some, it's a little bit of a reduced payment, but it's still something to help and maintain that habitat that we've created. Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to send some just some pamphlets and fact sheets and to Lindsay, and she's going to send them out to the group on how to get started, kind of an overview of the EQIP program and also the CSP program. So, and she'll send those out with other attachments, I guess, after this.
Hey, Lindsay, I guess I'm unmuted. No, Jeff and Thomas, thanks. This is Fred, Department of Forestry. I really want to appreciate y'all's efforts, in the program and promoting, putting some more fire back on the land. I just want, you made a note early on, and I wanted to let folks know, it was like your plans had to be done by a certified prescribed burn manager. And I really appreciate a lot of the NRCS folks going through the training and stuff, but that doesn't mean whoever does the plan has to be the one that implements it. We do have that caveat in our program that so you might have somebody Thomas may write up the plan, or Fred Turk may do it, and Shep Zediker could implement it, as long as the plan is written by a certified burn manager and implemented by one, then it's covered, to try to make it so there's no kind of hurdles in the way. So, but no, thanks again for all your work. Good presentation, guys.
Thanks, Fred.
In case anybody missed it in the chat, Mark Puckett writes that from DWR, we hope to work with Virginia Prescribed Fire Council to develop a program for Virginia's private landowners at some point and conduct learn and burns for those landowners who have a hard time finding a burning contractor or doing burns themselves. Teaching landowners to burn themselves, working with prescribed burning associates or associations is the key to getting more fire on private lands. Very true. All righty. I don't think there's any more questions. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming and sharing all that NRCS has to offer.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.